Thank you for joining us today. My name is Rachel Smith, and here we're going to be talking about nutrition as we age and across the lifespan. We all know that nutrition is really important, but what's really interesting kind of seeing how we can actually get all these great ingredients together and make some delicious food and delicious meals. So I'm actually joined by some very special people today. In my dream team we have Jenny. Like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jenny. I regularly volunteer here on the university campus. I live alone, and hopefully some of the things I tell you will be useful for anyone who is living on their own when it comes to cooking and using the kitchen.
I'm Frank, and I also occasionally volunteer for doing some of this work with Reading University. I live with a family that is mixed of vegetarians and omnivores, so we have quite a varied requirements for food and cooking.
So we are making a veggie kind of shepherd's pie today with nice sweet potato mash. But it's a brilliant recipe. It's the kind of recipe you could add in meat in if you wanted to, or maybe like a mix of meat and pulses. We're doing lentils today as the kind of main base for it, so looking forward to making that together. And we're going to start off by cutting up and peeling some sweet potatoes and also some onion as well. You can talk for us what your technique is. Because even though I love to cook, I don't really know.
Right, the easiest way to chop an onion is to do what I've just done, which is take the top off, and then you can peel the extraneous bits off like that.
You're very quick at that as well. I thought that would take me ages as it was before.
Well practiced.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you're going to cook it so that it cooks quickly, you want to cut it into small pieces. You see you've got a flat surface there, so it's not slipping around. And then when you cut across that way, you've got your onion ready chopped into little tiny pieces. And you can hold on to the little tufty bit at the end so you don't hurt your fingers.
So we're going to pop everything in this pan over there. So do you eat sweet potatoes usually? Or?
Sometimes, but the rest of the household does, so I'm used to them.
Yeah, okay. So
I'll start peeling.
Yes. So sweet potatoes are actually great because they have beta-carotene in them. Which is really good for our vitamin A, which is really good for eyesight and things like that. But I think they're brilliant because it kind of gives like a nice vibrant colour. You can also buy them chopped up in the shop if you don't really like to chop up stuff, or you find it difficult to chop up things. Not everyone finds it as easy. Do you eat sweet potato on your
Oh yes,
foods? Yeah?
yes, I've got a lovely sweet potato flan that I make, so it's no pastry. It's lined with sweet potatoes.
Sounds lovely. How do you make it?
Well, pretty much as Frank's doing there,
Yeah.
and then you slice the potato into thin rounds and you line a flan dish with it,
Yes.
having greased the flan dish, and then you bake that blind for just about 10 minutes in the oven, and then you add a filling of wilted spinach and any other onion, garlic, chopped up and cooked, and you can add other vegetables like roasted peppers or something, and then beat up an egg and do it like a quiche essentially.
I love having like a kind of a baked sweet potato, a bit of curry on top, and like some coriander and things like that. I think that's a really delicious meal. Then I use my microwave to kind of speed up the process, which is good, because I haven't got all day.
I mean, they're quite versatile actually, because you can mash them and you can turn them into chips and all sorts. I like sweet potato. Not deep fried,
Yeah.
baked in the oven as chips.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Delicious. And what about butternut squash? Do you ever eat that? That's another great one. Yeah?
Yeah.
Grow it and eat it,
Really?
yeah, lovely. Not so much red meat these days. Fish, chicken, a lot of things that you talking about, baked potatoes just now, things like that, because they're easy to do and enjoyable. There's quite a few tins in the cupboard as well. Quite a lot of stuff comes out of tins.
Tins are fantastic. Well, yeah, all the canned.
Tins and frozen, I think.
And
and use a lot of
the
frozen
freezers.
veg,
We actually loved canned vegetables here because it kind of means you're like reducing your food waste. You're really using what you need to use. It lasts a long time in the cupboard. You can actually kind of add in more vegetables as well if you have a couple more, because they're cheaper. You might have more options of kind of what you want to add into your meals. And the same goes with frozen as well. Do you ever use frozen vegetables?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I use them
yeah.
a lot. What ones do you tend to have?
Frozen peas, frozen board beans, frozen edamame. I found recently, I found a big bag of mixed veg, potatoes, carrots, root vegetables, all cut into little cubes, and that's quite handy because you can make that into soup.
Yeah, that's very good.
You can sort of stick it into casseroles quickly. That's quite a handy frozen veg.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea actually. And also sometimes I even buy like frozen like chilies and frozen herbs. Sometimes you can find those in the shops now, which are quite good. Because sometimes you might find that like, your herbs might go off a little bit in the fridge if you're not really using them for every meal.
What I found recently, because I do use ginger because I make my own curries, but if you buy a stick of ginger, it goes off. But you can actually get little packs of frozen chopped ginger. Frozen chopped ginger. And that's quite handy if you know, when you don't use it all the time. You can keep it in the freezer.
So you were saying actually earlier that you kind of lost your sense of smell a little bit, or it's kind of decreasing a little bit. We taste as well, kind of through our smell. So we have like orthonasal olfaction, we kind of like taste stuff through going up through our nose, and also when we're eating, also goes back through and up again. So sometimes it actually really helps to add these kind of flavourings. We have basil, oregano and thyme here, and that can really help us kind of like lift and enhance our food without having to add extra salt, which you don't really want to do so much. So do you ever add kind of all these extra little flavourings yourself at home?
I don't tend to put it in the cooking, but
maybe
use
when
it
it's
afterwards
finished,
to flavour up the stuff if it needs it. Yeah.
So that's just some great ways. We can even add chilli, you can add like curry powder. I know you love your curries.
Well, I make my own curry powder.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you put in it?
Well, turmeric, cumin, cardamom. I've got a garam masala, which I buy. And I like Lebanese food too, so Lebanese cooking,
nice.
so I've got Lebanese herbs.
Invite us all around. This sounds good.
I'd go steady on the basil because that's quite a powerful one. And dried things tends to be a bit stronger than the fresh actually.
Do you buy the dried stuff or do you buy fresh?
I'd buy the dried for convenience because again, living on your own, you don't always use the fresh as quickly as you might. Oregano's quite a good one, stick that in.
I can add it in. So you were saying sometimes you would even like blend up your meals if you had any leftovers like this.
Oh yes, if I've made a lot
soup
and there's some left over, I'll let it get cold and then I'll use some stock and I'll blend it all up and make a soup. And then you can freeze the soup and have it, and then you've got some nice spicy soup in the freezer sometimes.
Now to enhance that flavour, we're going to add in a veggie stock cube. Frank, please could you pour in the tomatoes? You're wearing a red top.
Yes.
That's the safest bet. So our canned tomatoes, we've got a nice pot of vegetables in here, and then we are going to add in some lentils, which are again a brilliant source of protein and fibre, and you know that, Jenny, because you're vegetarian and you eat lots of pulses, which is brilliant.
If you're using dried beans, things like kidney beans or black-eyed beans, they have to be soaked and cooked. I found with dried chickpeas, I can cook the whole packet, split it up into batches and then freeze them, and then I can just take the little packets out of the freezer to use.
That's a really great idea.
Brilliant. I think you can use the freezer quite a lot. If you're living on your own, which a lot of older people are, you know, if you use the freezer and split things up into small, even bread, I mean a wholemeal loaf, I'll buy a wholemeal loaf and slice it and freeze the slices and then just take out 2 or 3 at a time. That way the bread lasts longer and you're still having it nice and fresh.
Okay, so now we're going to add some frozen spinach, which again is brilliant. We can have something straight from the freezer. There we are, and this will cook in here. And obviously, because it's kind of been frozen just as it's been picked, it's like lovely and fresh, kind of keeps the nutrients in there. And it's just really handy for, really handy for everyone. So we really recommend you have the frozen stuff. Okay, so we have some sweet potato chopped up and boiled in here. And we're now going to make it into a mash. So how do you usually make your mash at home, Frank?
Small amount of olive oil. Yeah.
Well, we have a couple of options here. So we have some natural yogurt. We also have some quark, sort of like a cheese. And there's an olive oil as well. So it kind of depends what you're looking for when you're making your mash. If you want to perhaps have a bit more calcium or protein in your diet, you might want to have some of the quark, for example. If you kind of felt as if you weren't really maintaining your weight so well, you might also want to add in some olive oil. So in doing this, we're actually fortifying our mash, so we're adding protein to it. We know that protein is brilliant for our health and our immune health as well. And actually, as we age, we sometimes need more protein than we did before. So the quark helps it kind of give it a lovely, like, creamy texture. So if you're struggling to kind of swallow different foods, having that kind of creamy, softer texture is great for some people as well. And because it's cheese, it has that extra cheesy taste on top of the mash, so we love that too.
It smells quite nice with this quark coming through, I have to say.
And what's obviously great is sometimes if you have any leftover mash, you can make other foods with that. So we're actually making a mackerel pate today as well. So you can maybe, if you have leftover mackerel pate and sweet potato mash, You can make sort of like a fish cake, which is a great way to use it up as well. We're actually also going to use the quark later on in the pâté, so it's just a really versatile ingredient which we love. This is what we worked on.
Smells good.
Very appetising looking.
Yeah.
Smells good. Oh, try and get some on the spoon. There we go.
Okay, you go next.
Thank you.
That's very tasty.
Oh, great. Okay, so what do you think? Is it the kind of thing you'd like to have again and make at home?
Yes, it looks good, it's nutritious, and it's really not very difficult to do.
It was quite easy to make, and I'd certainly adapt it in certain ways, but definitely would use this one at home.
Brilliant. And thanks so much for your help. I really enjoyed making it together.
Oh, thank you for
It was
having us.
fun.
Good fun.